I used to believe I had already won at life. I said that sentence out loud once, smiling, like a fool who didn't know luck can turn its back fast. I'm engaged, I told people proudly. Her name is Emily Carter. I loved saying her name. It felt solid, like a promise. When Emily laughed, I felt safe. When she held my hand, I believed the world had rules, and good people were rewarded. We're really doing this, she said one night, showing me wedding photos on her phone. I want something simple, I replied. Just you, me, and peace. She smiled and said, that's all I want too. Every morning started the same way. Did you sleep okay? She asked. Only when you're next to me, I said. She rolled her eyes and kissed my cheek. We talked about venues, colors, guest lists. My mom will cry, she joked. Your dad will pretend he won't, I answered. We laughed easily back then. I trusted her without thinking. Trust felt natural, like breathing. Emily loved her job. I loved how proud she looked when she talked about it. I might get promoted this year, she said once. You deserve it, I told her. You work harder than anyone I know. She mentioned her manager sometimes. Mark runs a tight ship, she said. But he notices effort. I nodded, barely listening. A name meant nothing to me then. Just another person in her work world. One evening, while we were eating dinner, she cleared her throat. I have to tell you something. I looked up. That sounds serious. She smiled quickly. It's not bad. Just sudden. She took a breath. There's a work trip next week. 3 days. I shrugged. Okay. She watched my face closely. You're fine with that? I laughed. Why wouldn't I be? She relaxed. It's important. Mark wants the whole team there. I nodded again. You should go. I'm proud of you. Later that night, she sat on the bed scrolling through her phone. I'll miss you, she said softly. I'll miss you too, I replied. But it's just 3 days. She smiled, but something flickered in her eyes. I noticed it, then ignored it. Love doesn't interrogate, I told myself. Love trusts. The day before she left, I helped her pack. Do I need heels? She asked. Always, I joked. She laughed. You're impossible. I folded her clothes carefully. Call me every night, I said. Of course, she replied. I promise. Promises mattered to me back then. While packing, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and turned the screen down. Work stuff, she said quickly. Mark again. I teased. Yeah, she said. He's intense. I smiled. Sounds like a nightmare. She laughed, but it sounded thin. That night, we lay in bed. Are you nervous? I asked. A little, she said. It's a big deal. I wrapped my arm around her. You'll be amazing, she whispered. What did I do to deserve you? I said, you chose me. I believed that was enough. The morning she left, I walked her to the door. Text me when you land, I said. I will, she answered. She hugged me tightly. 3 days, she said. Then back to normal. I smiled. Normal is my favorite. She kissed me and walked away. After the door closed, the apartment felt quiet. Too quiet. I stood there longer than I should have. A strange thought crossed my mind. What if something changes? I shook my head. Don't be stupid, I told myself. Fear is just imagination wearing confidence. I went to work, told my co-workers about the wedding. You're a lucky guy, one said. I know, I replied. I believed it. That night, I waited for her call. It came late. Sorry, she said. Long day. It's okay, I said. I'm just glad to hear your voice. She sounded tired. I'm going to sleep, she said. Tomorrow will be better. I love you, I said. I love you too, she replied quickly. When the call ended, I stared at my phone. Something felt off, like a note played slightly wrong. I ignored it. Trust doesn't question small shadows. Trust looks forward. I didn't know that trust was the first thing I was about to lose. The first night without Emily felt longer than it should have. I called her, and when she answered, her voice sounded thin. Hey, she said. Hey, I replied. You sound tired. Yeah, it's been busy, she said. You already at the hotel? Hum. I waited for more. Nothing came. Did you eat? I asked. Not yet, she said. I'll grab something. Don't forget, I said. I worry. She laughed softly. You always do. After we hung up, I stared at the ceiling. Something about the call stayed with me. I told myself it was distance, not danger. The next day, I texted her good morning. Hours passed before she replied. Sorry, meetings. That was all. No heart emoji. No questions about my day. I typed, "Everything okay?" She wrote, "Yeah." Just one word. I read it again and again, like it might change. That night, her call came even later. "I might fall asleep," she said. "It's exhausting here." "We can talk tomorrow," I said, trying to sound calm. "Okay," she replied quickly. "Love you." "Love you," I said back, but the words felt heavier. When the call ended, I replayed it in my head. Her pauses, her rushed tone. I asked myself when love started sounding like obligation. On the second day, I couldn't focus at work. I checked my phone too often. My thoughts ran in circles. Maybe I was being dramatic. Maybe this was normal. I texted Daniel Brooks during lunch. "Am I crazy?" I wrote. "Or does something feel off?" He called me immediately. "You're overthinking," he said. "She's on a work trip, not a vacation." "I know," I said. "But she feels different." He sighed. "Trust your gut, but don't invent ghosts." I asked, "So what do I do?" He paused. "Watch. Listen. Don't accuse without proof." That evening, my phone buzzed. A message from Emily popped up. "Can't wait till tonight, face blowing a kiss. I smiled for half a second. Then my chest tightened. That wasn't how she talked to me. Before I could reply, the message vanished. Deleted. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. I typed, "What was that?" 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. Then appeared again. Finally, she wrote, "Oops, wrong chat." My fingers felt numb. "Wrong chat." I typed. She sent a laughing emoji. "Yeah, work group. Don't worry." I didn't laugh. I called her. "Hey," she said. "What's wrong?" I kept my voice steady. "Who was that message for?" She laughed again. "I told you work." "You never text coworkers like that," I said. She sighed. "You're reading too much into it." I asked, "Why delete it?" She said, "Because I didn't want you to misunderstand." That answer hurt more than anger would have. "I trust you," I said slowly. "I just need honesty." She replied, "And I'm being honest." After the call, my hands shook. I told myself to believe her. I told myself love means faith, not fear. But my mind kept whispering questions. Why delete the message? Why the emoji? Why the distance? I called Daniel again. "She sent something," I said. Then erased it. He went quiet. "That's not nothing," he said finally. "But don't jump yet." I asked, "What if I'm blind?" He said, "Then open your eyes carefully." That night, I barely slept. I replayed our last real conversation, searching for cracks. I remembered how fast she said goodbye, how she didn't ask when I'd sleep. In the morning, I texted her. "Did you sleep okay?" She replied hours later. "Barely." I asked, "Want to talk later?" She said, "Maybe." That word felt like a door half closed. On the third day, I stopped pretending. I wasn't angry yet. I was afraid. Afraid of being wrong, and more afraid of being right. I told myself I needed facts, not feelings. I looked at her schedule. I checked the hotel name she mentioned. My heart raced with every click. "Just checking," I whispered to myself. "Just making sure." When I closed my laptop, my decision was clear. I wasn't imagining this anymore. I was going to find the truth myself. I didn't tell Emily I was coming. I told myself that surprise was romantic, not suspicious. On the plane, I kept whispering, "You're being stupid." The man next to me asked, "You okay?" I nodded and said, "Yeah, just tired." My chest felt tight the entire flight. I texted her, "How's the conference?" She replied, "Busy." One word again. When we landed, I called Daniel. "I'm here," I said. He asked, "Here where?" I said, "Her city." He went quiet. "Be careful," he said. "I am," I lied. The taxi driver asked, "Hotel?" I gave him the address Emily mentioned. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I practiced lines in my head. "I missed you. I wanted to surprise you." Anything that didn't sound like an accusation. When the car stopped, my heart felt like it was trying to escape. The lobby smelled clean and expensive. I walked to the desk. "Hi," I said. "I'm here to see Emily Carter." The clerk smiled. "Room number." I hesitated, then said it. She typed and nodded. "Elevators on the left." Inside the elevator, my reflection looked unfamiliar. Pale. Older. I whispered, "You love her." The doors opened. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. As I walked, I heard laughter. A man's voice. A woman's laugh I knew too well. My feet slowed. My body begged me to turn around. I didn't. I stopped outside the door. My hands trembled. I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again. The laughter stopped. The door opened halfway. Emily's face appeared. Her eyes went wide. "What are you doing here?" she whispered. I said, "Surprising you." She glanced behind her. "This isn't a good time." I pushed the door open gently. "I just flew 3 hours," I said. "I think it is." That's when I saw him. Mark Lewis stood near the bed, shirt half-buttoned. He didn't speak. He just stared. Emily said my name like it was a mistake. "It's not what it looks like," she said fast. I looked at the bed, the clothes, the room. I asked quietly, "Then what is it?" She stepped closer. "Please," she said. "Let me explain." Mark finally spoke. "I'll give you 2 a moment." I looked at him. "Don't," I said. "Stay." He stopped moving. Emily cried. "I didn't plan this." I asked, "How long?" She shook her head. "It just happened." I laughed once empty. "You packed dresses," I said. "You deleted messages." She said, "I was confused." I replied, "I was loyal." Mark looked away. I asked him, "Did you know about me?" He nodded slightly. That hurt more than anything else. Emily reached for my arm. I stepped back. "Don't touch me," I said. She sobbed, "I love you." I asked, "Which one?" She said, "That's not fair." I replied, "Neither was this." Mark cleared his throat. "I should go." I looked at him again. "You already did enough." He left without another word. Emily fell onto the bed. "Say something," she begged. I searched for anger. It wasn't there. Just emptiness. I said, "I trusted you." She cried harder. "I was lonely," she said. I answered, "So was I." She asked, "Can we fix this?" I looked around the room. "No," I said. "This is broken beyond repair." She followed me to the door. "Please don't leave like this." I paused. "Like what?" I asked. "Truthfully?" She whispered, "I made a mistake." I replied, "You made a choice." My voice surprised me. Calm. Flat. I walked into the hallway. She called my name again. I didn't turn around. The elevator ride down felt longer than the flight. In the lobby, the clerk smiled at me again. I couldn't return it. Outside, the air felt heavy. I called Daniel. "I saw them," I said. He asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "No," he said, "Come home." I replied, "I will." In the taxi, I stared out the window. My phone buzzed. Emily's name lit up the screen. I didn't answer. I turned it off. One sentence played in my head, over and over, steady and final. The woman I loved doesn't exist anymore. I came home alone that night, and the silence felt louder than any scream. My phone kept lighting up, but I didn't pick it up. Emily's name filled the screen, over and over, like a bruise I couldn't stop pressing. I let it ring until it stopped. Then it rang again. I turned the phone face down and sat on the floor. "Please," her voicemail said. "Just talk to me." I didn't. I couldn't. My chest felt hollow, like something had been scooped out and never replaced. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. I stared at the ceiling and replayed everything. Her smile. Her laugh. The way she said, "I love you," without looking at me. I whispered, "How did I miss it?" No one answered. She called every day. I let it ring. She texted, "I'm sorry." I deleted it. "Please meet me." I ignored it. Each message felt heavier than the last. I told myself, if I answer, I'll break. I stopped going to work. My boss called. "Everything okay?" he asked. I said, "Yeah." It was a lie. I stopped caring if I was fired. I stopped caring about food. I stopped caring about mirrors. I didn't want to see the man who let this happen. My sister Sarah showed up without warning. She knocked once, then opened the door. "You look terrible," she said. "Thanks," I replied. She sat beside me. "You going to talk to me?" I shrugged. "There's nothing left to say." She said, "That's a lie." I snapped, "Don't start." She didn't move. "You're drowning," she said, "and pretending you're fine." I laughed without humor. "She cheated," I said. End of story. Sarah shook her head. "No," she said. "That's the beginning." I rubbed my face. "I trusted her," I whispered. "You trusted the wrong version of her," she said. That hurt because it felt true. "She keeps calling," Sarah said. "Are you answering?" I said, "No," she asked. "Why?" I replied, "Because if I hear her voice, I'll believe her again." Sarah went quiet. "You're blaming yourself," she said. I nodded. "I should have known." She leaned closer. "You're not psychic." I said, "I'm stupid." That night, I replayed every moment. Every smile that lasted too long. Every excuse I accepted. I whispered, "You did this." My own voice answered, "You let it happen." The shame was heavier than anger. Emily left another voicemail. "I can't breathe," she cried. "Please talk to me." I deleted it without listening again. I told myself, silence is safer. Sarah stayed the night. She said, "Eat something." I said, "Later." She replied, "You said that yesterday." Days blurred together. I wore the same clothes. I forgot showers. My phone stayed face down. The world kept moving, and I stayed still. I thought, maybe this is what I deserve. That thought scared me. Sarah stood by the window. "You can't stay like this," she said. "Why not?" I asked. "Because you'll disappear," she answered. I looked at the floor. "Maybe that's easier." She snapped. "No," I whispered. "I don't know how to survive this." She said, "One breath at a time." That night, alone again, I finally listened to my thoughts. They weren't angry. They were tired. I said out loud, "If I stay here, I will disappear." I woke up one morning and realized the anger was exhausting me more than the betrayal ever did. I sat on the edge of the bed and said out loud, "I can ruin them." The thought scared me. Daniel called that afternoon. "You're being too quiet," he said. "Quiet is better than violent," I replied. He laughed sharply. "You could expose her. Him too. End them." I said, "And then what?" He paused. "Then they hurt like you did." I shook my head. "I don't want to become that person." Daniel didn't like that answer. "Silence lets them win," he argued. "No," I said. "Silence lets me breathe." He sighed. "You're letting her off easy." I replied, "I'm letting myself live." That was the moment I understood my choice. Revenge would keep me tied to her. Distance would free me. I packed my life into boxes a week later. Sarah hugged me and said, "You're doing the right thing." I said, "I don't know what I'm doing." She answered, "You're surviving." I didn't tell Emily. I didn't post anything. I just left. New city. New apartment. New silence. I changed my number. I deleted old photos. I told myself, this chapter is closed. Daniel texted, "She's asking about you." I replied, "Please don't update me." He wrote back, "Mark's name is getting messy at work." I didn't respond. I wasn't curious. I was tired. At my new job, I met Oliver Grant. He shook my hand and said, "You look like someone who's been through something." I said, "I'm trying not to be." He smiled. "Work helps." He was calm in a way I wasn't used to. "Focus on what you can control," he told me. "Effort, growth, integrity." I nodded. "That's all I have left." He said, "It's more than enough." Weeks passed. I worked late. I learned fast. Oliver said, "You're sharper than you think." I said, "I'm just trying to stay busy." He replied, "Busy fades. Purpose stays." That sentence stayed with me. One night, Daniel called again. "You sure you don't want to hear this?" he asked. "No," I said. He hesitated. Her engagement post vanished. I closed my eyes. "Don't," I said. "Okay," he replied. "But rumors are flying." I said, "That's their noise." He asked, "Are you okay?" I answered honestly, "I'm getting there." I never posted my side. I never corrected lies. I let silence do the work. I heard through others that Mark was under review, that people talked, that Emily looked tired. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just felt lighter. Oliver noticed the change. "You're standing straighter," he said. I shrugged. I stopped looking back. He nodded. "That's power." For the first time in months, I believed that. Emily emailed me from an old account. "I miss you," she wrote. I didn't reply. Daniel said, "She regrets it." I said, "Regret doesn't rebuild trust." He said, "You're cold." I replied, "I'm clear." I started sleeping again, eating again, running in the mornings. I looked in the mirror and didn't flinch. I said, "You survived." The anger faded into something quieter. Control. One evening, Oliver asked, "Why did you move here?" I said, "To start over." He replied, "Then don't bring the past with you." I smiled. "I won't." That night, I realized the power had shifted. Not because they fell, but because I stood back up. I didn't go looking for updates about Emily, but they reached me anyway. Daniel called one evening and said, "I won't give details unless you want them." I said, "One sentence." He exhaled. "She's not okay." I closed my eyes. "That's enough." He added quietly, "Mark walked away to protect himself." I felt nothing. No relief. No anger. Just distance. Weeks later, Sarah mentioned her name without meaning to. People stopped inviting her, she said. I replied, stop. She nodded. I just wanted you to know you didn't imagine it. I said, I don't need proof anymore. That was true. The need to be right had faded. One morning, my phone buzzed with an unknown email. I opened it by accident. It was long. Too long. I've lost everything, Emily wrote. Mark won't answer me. My friends won't call. I wake up shaking. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need to hear your voice. I read it once. Then again. My hands were steady. I didn't reply. I deleted it. Silence felt honest. I told Daniel, I don't hate her. He said, that's surprising. I answered, I just don't need her pain to heal mine. He paused. You've changed. I said, I had to. That was the truth. I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted peace. A month later, I ran into her outside a coffee shop. I almost didn't recognize her. She looked smaller, tired. She froze when she saw me. Can we talk? She asked. I said, we are. She swallowed. I ruined everything. I replied, yes. She asked, do you ever miss me? I said, I miss who I thought you were. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I nodded. I know. She waited for more. I didn't give it. She whispered, I wish I could go back. I said, I don't. That was the final truth. I walked away without looking back. My steps felt light. For the first time, I understood something simple. Karma didn't need my hands. It only needed time. I wake up alone now, and for the first time, it doesn't scare me. I sit on the edge of the bed and say quietly, this is my life. No one answers, and that feels right. I make coffee and think about how silence used to hurt. Now it feels earned. Daniel calls while I'm getting ready. You good? He asks. I am, I say. He laughs. You sound different. I reply, I feel different. He says, you don't talk about her anymore. I answer, because she's not my story now. He pauses, then says, I'm proud of you. I say, that makes two of us. At work, Oliver stops by my desk. You've grown, he says. I had no choice, I reply. He smiles. That's usually how it happens. I tell him, I thought losing her meant losing everything. He shakes his head. You lost an illusion, he says. You found yourself. I nod. That feels accurate. Later, Sarah texts me. You okay today? I write back, I'm steady. She replies, that's better than happy. I smile at that. I don't need fireworks. I need balance. I think about the man I was before. The one who believed love meant ignoring doubt. I say out loud, you did your best. I don't insult him anymore. I don't blame him. He was loyal. That mattered. Sometimes I still hear Emily's voice in my head. Not begging. Not lying. Just familiar. When that happens, I say, thank you for the lesson. I don't hate her. Hate would keep me tied. I let the memory pass. Daniel once asked me, would you ever love again? I told him, yes, but not blindly. He said, that sounds lonely. I answered, it sounds honest. I don't rush the future. I don't chase it either. One evening, I sit alone on my balcony. The city hums below. I call Oliver. Did I do the right thing? I ask. He says, you chose peace over chaos. I reply, it cost me everything. He answers, no. It gave you everything back. I look at my hands. They don't shake anymore. I say, I'm not afraid of being alone. Oliver says, good. That means you're free. I hang up and breathe deeply. I don't wear my scars like trophies. I don't hide them either. They're part of me. When people ask about my past, I say, I learned. That's enough. I used to think closure came from apologies. Now I know it comes from acceptance. I don't need her regret. I don't need his downfall. I needed myself back. At night, before sleeping, I whisper one sentence to the dark. I survived. It answers with quiet. She broke my heart, but I reclaimed my life.